7 minutes to give you an update on what's going on with their organizations. And then at the end, we should have about 15 minutes for Q&A that Katie and I will moderate and open it up to you all for questions. So without further ado, we are going to get going. It is our intent to get you out of here. If you came over your lunch hour, we want to get you back to work on time. So thanks again for being here. I'm going to introduce our panelists. We've got Dr. Adam Borth, who's the Vice President of Student Affairs at Fort Scott Community College, Jim Harris, who's the Chairman of the Bourbon County Commission, Robert Harrington, who's the Executive Director of Bourbon County Ready, Destry Brown, who's the Superintendent of USD 234, Vance Eaton, Superintendent of USD 235, and Brad Matkin, our City of Fort Scott City Manager. So, gentlemen, who drew the straw to go first? All right, I'm going to turn it over to Brad. 7 minutes. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Bailey. Again, my name is Brad Matkin, City Manager, City of Fort Scott. Welcome. Thank you all for coming this afternoon. Yes, this afternoon. And hope you get a lot out of this. We will do our best to share some good things and hopefully positive things. So what I want to talk about is some of the projects that we've got going on, but I also want to talk about some of my goals as a city manager. Of course, one of the big updates everybody wants to know is about Cooper Street. Phase 2 is coming along good. We have started pouring the concrete today. The weather last night wasn't so good in some areas, but we didn't get much rain, so we were able to pour concrete this morning, hoping that will be that phase will be done in a couple weeks. Also, we've started a street repair crew, which is a 3-person crew. You've seen them between Main and National on the intersection of First Street. We've started there with replacing bricks, but we're also going to replace a lot of our other cuts in our streets because if anybody lives here, they know our streets need as much work as they can possibly get. Cape Steel, anybody that was here last year saw the trucks bringing rock and oil to our streets to do Cape Steel. We are doing that again this year, but we are doubling up on the amount of streets we're going to do. This year, instead of 3.7 miles of Cape Steel, we'll be doing 6.13 miles, and that'll be starting up here pretty quick. We did get the lowest bid and approved that bid yesterday at the commission meeting, so that'll be starting up. We have been prepping our roads for that program with our staff. Good news, Memorial Hall steps. I know that's been a topic for a couple of years. They have started working on repairing the Memorial Hall steps. Mid-Continental is in charge of that. They are taking care of that. But that is just the first step. Pardon the pun. But I really feel Memorial Hall is a hidden gem for this city. We've already shown that we can host comedians, we can host concerts. That's just the beginning for us. I really feel like we can be a destination spot. We are close to Kansas City. We're close to Joplin. Why can't people come to us instead of us going there? So Memorial Hall to me is a hidden gem, and I think others agree with that. So we're going to be working hard on that. Another program that we've been working on with the tourism department is a stay and play golf package. That is a package that allows people to call in to a hotel of their choice and not only just stay, but they'll also get golf packages to go play golf the day and next day, which that would probably, hopefully bring people from out of town to do that. Along with the Memorial Hall, what we have not had in the past few years is somebody overseeing Memorial Hall. And we promoted a person up to Director of Facility that will oversee Memorial Hall, the airport, Woodland Hills Golf Course, the lake, La Roche, Buck Run, and the Aquatic Center to make sure all of our policies are being followed, make sure the contracts are being followed, make sure that our amenities are kept up to the standards they should be for our guests and for our citizens. So we really feel that's a very important process in these amenities becoming more popular. So also, before I go into my goals, Gun Park, if you've been down to Gun Park over by the RV park, you'll see that we've been doing a lot of work down there. What we did was took our existing RV park and made it bigger, made the spots bigger because I don't know how many camping people there are in the room. Campers are bigger now, so they need more room. So we made the spots bigger, plus we made every spot a 50 amp electrical spot, which will accommodate all campers. And so that area is pretty much about done. We got the electric, we got water, we got new fire pit rings, we got new picnic tables down there. We really feel that's going to add a lot of updating for our customers that come in there. But that's just the beginning of Gun Park also. That's another spot that we would like to see grow in our town, because we feel that's a spot where visitors can come, have their birthday parties, have their get-togethers, have their reunions, and in turn that would spend money here in our town. Okay, thank you. C-Click Fix, we'll be starting that this week. I signed the contract this morning for C-Click Fix. If you don't know what that is, it's an app that allows citizens to go on and report any type of problem. It could be a pothole, it could be a sign falling down, whatever it could be. Those emails will go right to the person responsible for that department. Right now, what you get is my email. I've been putting it on Facebook for people to tell me what's going on, but this will allow you to just go on an app, which usually everybody has a phone now. You can still use my email, but the app would be better, because that way we can hold ourselves accountable for getting something working and something fixed. So my goals. One of the big goals that I have when I took this job over is growth. I really believe, I've been in Fort Scott 53 years now, and you know, when they say Fort Scotian, I feel like I'm Fort Scotian. And I feel growth is very important in our town and our city. And I feel we have a lot of potential in that. But it's going to take us working together. Mr. Harris and I just talked about that we need to work together with the county, we need to work together with the school board, we need to work together with economic development to work together to get our goals completed, and not to try to do everything individually. And so that's something that we need to, instead of just meeting here, we need to meet on our own with each other. So that's one of my biggest goals. Okay? As you know, Josh is sitting right there, a lot of great things going on in Fort Scott. Be part of it. Comedy shows, concerts, festivals, arts, history. Just be part of your city, because we've got a lot of great things, and don't stew on the negatives.
Thank you, Brad. Sorry.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. All right, Vance, the floor is yours.
All right. Again, Vance Eaton. I'm the Associate Superintendent for the Uniontown School District. I know a lot of you are Fort Scott folks, so just a little bit of demographics. So Uniontown District has two facilities, a preschool through 6th grade facility that's just under 300 students, and then a 7 through 12 facility that's just under 200 students. So our district serves, 480-ish kids. We have 45 certified staff and about that many classified staff as well. But what we lack in people, we make up in space. We have to cover a lot of space to get our students there. We're bringing in students from really 5 small communities into our district. So we have to balance kind of the different needs and priorities and philosophies of those communities there at the Uniontown District. Kind of some highlights for us right now. The state requires a 5-year accreditation cycle. And so this is the 5th year for Uniontown. And so we've worked through that process. And there's a committee that reviews those before those go to the state board. So we've been approved by that committee and expect to be accredited at the May State Board of Education meeting. Another kind of common talking point throughout the district this year has been about a bond issue and some capital improvements. We've surveyed patrons and collected feedback kind of a variety of ways. Uniontown is really the hub for that community or for those communities. We don't have a lot of business and industry there, so most people are engaged with the school, if engaged at all. So we know that it's a priority to keep those facilities nice and to continue to develop and even expand programs where possible. We're not looking to grow necessarily into a massive district, but for sure want to provide the greatest number of opportunities that we can for our kids. A couple of things that have kind of risen to the surface, and this is by no means the only projects that we're considering, but a few of those that are commonly agreed upon. Our preschool services are currently housed in an external building. That's a modular building that's been in the district since the late 90s. And so we'd like to upgrade that building to be connected to the physical structure while potentially making that a tornado-safe shelter. So currently the district uses locker rooms, which are safer but not safe enough. So we'd like to upgrade those facilities. And then similarly across the street, we'd like to add a safe room at the junior high school building. That would serve probably mostly as a multi-purpose room for things like wrestling practice and cheerleading, and then events and things that maybe don't need a massive space, but for sure require enough room to accommodate quite a few people. Other things is we'd like to upgrade the junior high school fire alarm. Unfortunately, that's an antiquated system that doesn't actually even have smoke detectors. It's only pull stations and strobes, which is up to code, but obviously not ideal. So we'd like to bring that into the current, meet the current code. And then there's a variety of smaller things that are security upgrades. I won't go into that too much here, but obviously taking care of kids and making sure that we have appropriate coverage for our security needs is always a priority. Like most school districts, we're in the hiring phase of the school year. We have been lucky to fill most of our positions. We only have 2 currently open positions, or certified positions. We're looking for an industrial tech teacher, and that would be an expansion of our current program. So not a replacement, but just an expansion. And then we call it a CTE teacher, and that's Career Technical Education. So those might be a teacher that would teach a technology class or a business class or a marketing or a graphic design or those types of things. So those are our open positions. Obviously, if you're connected with somebody who might fit into one of those categories, we would love to visit with them. And you can speak with me, or you can find all our information on the website. And then on the classified staff, we're always in need of special education paras. And then also we're looking to fill a kitchen staff worker at the high school, which would be a cook position. That's a part-time, but is offered full-time benefits. Other kind of things, state testing is the season for schools right now. We've begun that, not very far in, but started that today. Spring sports, all of you are always welcome to attend all the things we have going on, all the regular school stuff, baseball, softball, track. If you want to go see them at golf, I think they're at Fort Scott this week. And then we always pursue grants. So we know that we're a district that doesn't have a lot of means, so we try to partner with organizations that have a shared vision with us. So currently looking to upgrade a walking trail around the district, and that has been submitted. We've made a presentation to the Recreation Trails Program, and then we're also looking at a shipping container hydroponic farm, which is kind of like it's a growing kind of lab that we could use in FFA and biology. So those are good things. I think kind of the last thought is Destry and I have tried to work together to kind of, we're not one district, but we have shared goals and shared philosophies, and want to try to, I guess, provide all kids with as many opportunities as we can. That's it.
Under time. Thank you. Can you guys hear okay in the back? Okay.
Well, good
Your
afternoon.
turn, Destry.
I'm Destry Brown. I'm the superintendent of schools here in Fort Scott. This is my first year there. I think it's also Vance's first year. So, and it's Brad's first year. All us first year guys, and you guys experienced sitting down there waiting your turn. So, one of the things that I thought this time of year, we're spending a lot of time talking about what have we accomplished so far this year. We're coming down to the last month of school. So some of the things that I wanted to share with you that we've accomplished through the year since I've been here. So classified salaries. When we came, we were still paying some of our paras and our cooks less than $10 an hour. We couldn't get people hired because they could go to work at one of the fast food places for a lot more than that. So we really worked at getting those salaries up, and now the beginning salary for our classified, our lowest is $11.50 an hour. And so we're becoming much more competitive so that we can fill jobs. We still have some jobs that we need to fill in like paras. We have a hard time filling those. We've also, one of the things that I heard a lot about was, why are we doing all this early release every Wednesday and that sort of thing? Well, we're using that for teachers to be able to meet together and collaborate, and they've been working on identifying their essential standards. And so what we want to make sure that every kid and every teacher knows, these are the things you need to know before you go to the next grade level. And that's what we're really getting down to. What are the absolute essential things you have to know to be able to be successful next year? And so we're almost completed with that throughout this year. So that's what we've been working on during those early release times. Behaviors. I heard about that when I came here. Behaviors at some of our schools, people felt like they heard a lot about it in the public, that they were out of control. I can assure you that that is turned around completely now. I hardly ever get a call anymore to come to the buildings. At the first of the year, we had a lot of issues going on, but we have I want to say we have conquered most of those issues. So things are much better. Our teachers, I hear it every time I go out, our teachers are able to teach and not worry about how one of the kids is going to disrupt and interrupt class. So that's been a big hurdle for us to get over. Developing a positive culture. You know, I grew up here, and you know, the pride of Fort Scott and being a Fort Scott Tiger. When I came, I had people tell me I need to run the other way, and that is sad if we've gotten to that point. And so we've worked really hard at turning that culture around to be positive. People are proud to work in our district and proud for their kids to go to school here. And so I think we've made a lot of headway in that area. Special education. 22% of our kids qualify for special ed. We have about 1,800 kids total. So you take that, 22%, it's a large number. It's larger than Uniontown School District. And so we were lacking a person that was a certified special educator to be the leader, the director of special education. And we were able to hire another Fort Scotian to come back to Fort Scott, like myself. And we hired Tanya Billiard Barnes, and she'll be here next year, and she's going to move that department greatly and bring a lot of consistency there. Another thing I heard, visibility. The district wasn't part of a lot of things going on. They wanted us to be more visible in the community. I try to be at everything. I think that I try to encourage our schools and our teachers and our administrators to get our kids visible and participate in things. So I think that's been a big improvement as well. Communication, trying to get word out, do the radio show every week. That's been fun. I appreciate Deb letting us do that. Another one is partnering with the other taxing entities in the county. The community college, we meet with them every week right now, talking about ways we can expand and provide more opportunities for kids. And we're going to have new opportunities for them next year, right, Adam? Yes. And as well as all the other dual credit things that our kids can take and regular classes that they can take out there. We also work with the county and with the city in trying to make sure that we're working together on projects that benefit all of us. And like Vance said, we're also including them, and we're working together on some things to provide opportunities for kids. And then you've probably seen we're doing a bunch of roof maintenance repairs right now. And so that's going on, and that'll be great for us. How much time do I have left? 1:30. Okay, really fast. So preparing for the future. The big thing that's coming up, the next year's calendar, we're not going to have early release days next year. I heard from people they did not like that. Parents didn't, the staff didn't. So what it's going to be is one day a month we will be out. And that was what parents felt like that was easier for them to deal with than coming and having to figure out how to pick them up early. Energy, we have a big energy and heat and air project at the high school that's going to be starting this summer. The high school heat and air does not work about half of the time. And if you have anybody that teaches at the high school or attends the high school, they can tell you it's either super cold or super hot because part of it's not working almost any day. And I'll just be honest and pardon my expression, but it is a crappy system that's there. So we're going to be replacing that this summer, and we're also going to be redoing in every building, putting in LED lighting everywhere, and we'll also be putting solar panels on top of all the buildings to cut our
Last
energy
comment,
usage.
Esther.
So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I'm done.
I hate cutting you guys off. You have so much going on, but thank you.
If somebody doesn't use all their time, I'll take it.
We'll go back to you. Okay. Rob.
Go ahead, you can have mine. Rob Harrington, Executive Director for Bourbon County Economic Development. Thank you very much for having me here. I want to thank Bailey, Katie, Lindsay, and our sponsors for having this event. We did a strategic plan at the end of last year. We had 3 meetings with business leaders, community leaders, individuals at large, and next to housing collaboration was the biggest request from everybody who attended, that we all get together and we all fix problems together. And I think this is a great first step. Also, it's an honor to sit up here at this panel. You've got a bunch of great leaders up here. I've been privileged to work with all of them except you, but we can change that. I've worked with your boss, so Alicia. But everyone up here cares about their community, cares about Bourbon County, and everyone should know that everything we do is for the better of this county, the children, the residents. You know, we live here as well, and our kids go to school here as well, and so we do care about these communities. And so I just want to put that up there, that it's an honor to sit up here with you guys, and every one of them is probably one of the best people I've ever worked with, and I'm not just saying that because I'm up here. It's the truth. So what's Ready been doing? Grants, and more grants, just the season. I think every grant that the state puts out goes from January to May. So we've been turning in lots of grants. We've spent several hours on grants for Memorial Hall this year. I believe if I was to add up total requests, we've probably submitted over $500,000 for Memorial Hall alone for the repair of some of that building. And as I think Brad said, it is a gem. Fun fact, in 2025, Memorial Hall will be 100 years old. So it's not very many places you get to go, and there's a building that's a century old that's still providing a service to the community. And so taking our time to fill out the grants, taking our time to repair things like the steps, like Memorial Hall. A base grant was submitted again this year. Last year when we submitted the base grant, we were unsuccessful, but so were a lot of people. I think out of $250 million, $40 million of it went to Johnson County and Wyandotte County, and another 10 went to Sedgwick County. So it was an election year. So, but this year we're hopeful. It's that grant is just a little over, almost $500,000 as well. And it would, if we get that awarded, it'll go to the industrial park to help with new water lines and sewer lines. So it's very much needed out there for our current businesses and future growth. So it was brought to my attention that there was some concern about business retention in the community. And I'd just like to say that we have been working on that. Our local intern, and I say local intern because he is from Fort Scott, he's a Fort Scotian as well. We were able to bring him back to work here at Tate & Majors. He's our intern, and he's been meeting with local businesses like Labcomco, Wardcraft, and others, talking to them about their their concerns, their likes, their worries about doing business in Bourbon County. At the end of the next couple months, we'll be able to provide a report to the county and city commission. With this, it's completely confidential, so if you talk with Tayton in the future, if you're a business, it won't say that such and such said this, such and such said this. It'll just say 20% of our respondents said that, I'm just picking something, you mentioned roads. Roads was an issue, right? That's what it's going to say, and give our local municipalities, our government agencies, the opportunity to know that the businesses are seeing these certain things that need to be fixed and worked on, and that with their help, we could see some expansion of those local businesses, which means more jobs and more tax dollars. We've also been working with local downtown businesses on several projects to improve the downtown. This is an amazing historic center. You know, with the Ford and some buildings like Bailey's Building and McDonald Hall, built in 1865. I mean, not as old as the Memorial Hall, but close. Older, sorry. Yeah, I'm not doing math today. I was in Mulvane, Kansas today, this morning at 6 o'clock, and I was here at 11. So bought on some grants and stuff for downtown with some projects, and those are going to be announced probably shortly on what we're working on, but we're working with the downtown committee through the chamber and some local businesses on that. Speaking of the chamber, we're going to host a workforce summit in June. We're partnering with the chamber on that as well. More information to come, but everyone will be invited. All business owners, 1 minute. All business owners will be invited to attend, and we have right now I think 7 individuals that are coming to speak on everything from training to youth in your workforce to hiring. It's going to be a great thing, and that came out of not only our strategic planning but our labor study that we completed. And that brings me to the last comment. Labor study, we've completed a housing study, a labor study, a retail study, we did a sales tax revenue study. We've done probably every study you can do, spent several thousands of dollars doing those, but that's given us a great foundation to build on, and I think we have a lot going on for us here, and I'm looking forward to the future and working with all these gentlemen and their staffs for what's to come.
Thank you. Jim.
Good afternoon. I'm Jim Harris, County Commissioner. It's pretty hard to follow these guys. They're pretty important. So I'd like to start out with, we have a different form of government, so I try to make this announcement every time I can. Some of my comments will not reflect what the other two commissioners agree with. Just in all fairness, we don't have a city manager, et cetera, Senate representative. So some of my comments might not be the same comments the other two commissioners make. I always make that clear in fairness to those two guys. What we've been doing here in Bourbon County, actually today, we have crews out doing the damage assessment from high winds. Hit about 2 or 3 o'clock this morning. Mainly Bronson, some around Hammond, but we had a lot of tree damage, some structure damage. So what that means to us, we go out, emergency preparedness goes out and does the damage assessment, record it, photograph it, and tomorrow we will declare a disaster proclamation. And what that will do, it will allow the county or residents to get possibly some money back from FEMA. If there's enough damage throughout the state, we have to meet a threshold. So we're doing that today, and we're also, of course, moving trees out of roadways, making it safe for the citizens. We actually are out to help the city of Bronson move a lot of trees in their area to get their city opened back up. So no damage in Garland area. Hit some areas in the Hammond area, so it just kind of went from Chanute straight up to Hammond. Just imagine that line up through there. So by doing that, last week we approved our road program, which is our asphalt program that was passed by the voters many, many years ago. It allows us so many sales tax dollars to spend on asphalt roads. This year we will be overlaying 25 miles of asphalt roads, and that's our goal every year. And that's based on the funding we get from the sales tax. A lot of it will be in the Northeast this year. That's an area that didn't get much the last 2 years. And we decide on a road program on, number one, safety, traffic count, condition of roads, things like that. So we're excited about that. We do that every year. And this year we're going to do 25 miles again, so that's a lot. And a lot of folks, including me years ago, didn't realize Bourbon County had 1,100 miles of roads. So what does that mean? Well, if you mow both sides of the road, you mow to Los Angeles and halfway back. That's how many miles, really, figure it out. It's a lot of miles that we try to maintain. And I think our crews do an excellent job. You know, we have over 1,000 miles of gravel roads, 140 asphalt roads. But it's a big program. I've been working with some of these folks in this room on trying to rob one of them. Every place we go, we have a housing problem. That's the main topic. I think the county is going to have to be creative on how we solve some of these problems. But I think we can do it without being any type of burden to the taxpayer at all. I just think we've got to be creative how we can get some things going, but we need additional housing. Working on the possibility of a feasibility study and hopefully grant. We're looking for construction overpass at the south end of Fort Scott. Somehow we have to get our emergency personnel across those railroad tracks. That's so important. You know, and then the railroad's just doing their job, but it's a bottleneck right there. We're not saying where it's going to go. We're not sure how we're going to fund it. We hope through federal grants. But it's time, we've talked about it for years, it's time to take action and do something. Because those folks on that end of town, I'm one of them, by the way, or on further east, you know, if you have a heart attack, you can't get an ambulance to you very quick. The train blocked the track a lot. And again, they're just doing their job because they're letting another train pass, but they have a dividing point down south. But most of the important thing we're doing this month, we will start a budget process, which is a lengthy process, working with department heads, other elected officials. And what that means to us, everyone in this room, the last 2 years, we dropped 5 mills in our taxes. Well, some of your taxes went up because your valuation went up. I can't help what the state does. But what that means to Bourbon County as an operation, us dropping 5 mills, we didn't cut any services, but we received $700,000 less money, basically. Now, we did gain some on valuations, but again, so our goal, again, this year is to drop the mill levy and stay budget neutral. And I think we can do that. It's called revenue neutral, what it's called. So, but it's difficult to keep providing the services. You got too many, you know, we don't want to cut any services, but when we talk about services, that means dollars. Everything we do costs dollars. You gravel a road, that's money. You asphalt a road, that's money. The people we offer in the tag office, that's the salary. So everything we do is tax dollars, but it's also services. In closing, I want to move forward working more with the city of Fort Scott. I think we can do more in joint services, shared services, but there's an avenue we have to take to legally do that. I think we could have an opportunity to help them with their street program more than we do. But again, we got to work out the details, and I'm not saying the other two commissioners would go with that. I don't mean that. That's why I said I'm talking for myself here. But we have to work together. If it will save the taxpayer dollars. That's our goal. To lower the taxes and provide good service. That's it.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Jim. Last but not least, Adam.
All right, I definitely am leased with this group. So, Adam Worth, Vice President of Academic Affairs with Fort Scott Community College. And I'm going to concede some of my time probably back to Destry if he needs it. So just a couple of things to hit on from the college's perspective. The first thing is we're going to talk about goals. One of our goals is to grow enrollment. As we know, community college enrollments in general are inversely related to the economy. So our highest enrollment is typically when the economy is at its worst, right after a recession. So we have to plan for that. If the economy is going well, we have to come up with new and creative ways to grow that enrollment. Right now, our enrollment is about 40% technical. So the students that don't ever step on an athletic field, nobody that you see from that perspective, those are the primary technical students we have, and that's about 40% of our enrollment. The other 60% is the general education, as you'd expect. Within the technical field, we'll talk about nursing for just a second. Everybody talks about staffing shortages and that type of thing. Nursing is a field where we are struggling to hire people. You have to have a specific mindset if you want to become a faculty member, because a nursing faculty member makes quite a bit less than they would actually in the business or in the field. So we struggle in that. We have 2 open nursing positions right now at the end of this year that we're just trying to find people to interview that are qualified for it. And another issue that we have in that field would be the requirement of a master's degree. If you're hired as a nurse to teach nursing, you have to have a master's degree within 6 years of working for us. So staffing that is difficult at times. We are working on attaining a newer facility for our nursing program. So if you've heard any rumors about us removing our nursing program, they are completely untrue. We're looking to upgrade our nursing program right now. A couple of other things. Just finishing up some renovations. If you've been on campus lately, the Bailey Hall building was renovated on the east end. So where the library is, remains the same, but there is new entrances there. There are new computer labs, new study rooms up there, a couple of new conference rooms, and then a revamped student union at the bottom. That was all paid for with grants and private donations, and we were able to utilize Ruddix for all the furniture that went in there as well. So, cafeteria getting remodeled right now. We're hoping to have that done. The thought was by Friday. Creates a little bit of an issue with students crossing Horton, going over to the 4-H building. Definitely appreciate the Fair Board and the use of the 4-H building and how that's all worked together. And that's going to tie me into collaboration. So we have been meeting weekly with the Fort Scott School District for some time now. Recently, the Uniontown School District has joined those meetings too. So we're working on as much collaboration as we can with the school districts. Next year, we are starting a construction trades program in Fort Scott. It will be housed at Fort Scott High School. So the students will take classes at Fort Scott High School. Any of the high school students within the districts can take those classes. The year after that, it will be open to all students. So whether they're secondary, post-secondary, that type of thing, they will have the opportunity to take those classes. Those classes are at no cost to the students. So that's definitely a good thing. Moving on to some scholarship information, the state still has the Promise Scholarship available, which really focuses on technical education. Our programs that qualify would be masonry, construction trades, HVAC, welding, nursing, John Deere, EMT, but it also allows for students wanting a degree in elementary education or computer science as well. So, and that is a last dollar scholarship that pays tuition, fees, books, that sort of thing. A student has to agree to live in the state of Kansas for 2 years post-graduation, live and work in the state of Kansas, and they have to be a Kansas resident and a high school graduate of a Kansas high school. Just a couple of other things. Our track team was Region 6 Indoor Champions this year. Our cheer team's at Nationals, and the men won Garden City Rodeo last weekend. So good news from that perspective. Our enrollment is open for fall. Tuition is remaining the same for fall. Fees might differ a little bit, but tuition has not went up. And our spring enrollment is up a little bit from last spring. So good signs for the future. And one other thing we have coming, we are going to have a heavy equipment operation program that we're working on getting started right now as well. I haven't talked to Destry or Vance about this yet, but probably housing that at one of the school districts.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for those updates. Do any of you want the extra minute that he left?
Okay, where is that?
Okay.
I should have commented that Bourbon County needs to work with all cities within the city. I mentioned Fort Scott, but Bronson, Redfield, Uniontown, Fulton, et cetera. So we need to help if we can on the project, if possible. And we are working with the college on heavy equipment.
We'll give you 30 seconds.
I'll just end with, I just want everybody to know, I hear all the time how nice people are, so kind, and they tell me, it's great to see me back in Fort Scott. I just want you to know how happy I am to be back in Fort Scott after 38 years of being away from Fort Scott, and coming back now. It's been really great. It's always been a dream of mine to teach here and work here, and so even after 39 years, your dreams can come true. So.
Thank you. The theme of the day was collaboration, which is very encouraging, and why we wanted to host this event. I realize it seems a little rushed with 7 minutes, but we also have heard from so many people that you can't keep up with the hours upon hours and hours of board meetings. These organizations have so much going on that they didn't even have time to touch on today, but we hope we gave you an overview. And I know all of these gentlemen make themselves available for questions, but we have about 20 minutes for Q&A right now, so Katie and I are going to open the floor.
So when you do take the mic with your questions, we would like for you to stand, introduce yourself. If you're with an entity or a business, please let us know what that is. And please respect everyone's time and keep it as brief as possible, but please, we do want you to ask what questions you might have.
And tell us who your question's for, and I will give them the mic.
My name is Ann Dare, Bourbon County resident, and I'm really not sure, but it has more to do with the economic development maybe than I think I do appreciate it. It's exciting to see all of the fun things that are coming to Fort Scott and people just stepping up and stepping forward. But for a while I have the question, is there a place of saturation when it comes to how much can you expect from Bourbon County residents and businesses to continue to put their limited funds forward?
Wow, that's not my question. And I'll tell you, I've been saying this since I got here in May. Bourbon County Ready. When I started with Bourbon County Ready, we changed our goal a little bit, and our goal is to raise revenues so we can lower rates. So what that means is our goal as an economic development agency is to bring new development, or no matter if it's expansion from current businesses, new housing, new commercial business, new industrial, or whatever, to this community. And by doing that, we are able to increase property tax rates, property tax revenues, sales tax revenues. And so if we're able to increase revenues, that means we can lower our rates and do the same thing, provide the same type of services that we're doing now. So I would say yes, at some point it gets overbearing for the local citizens on taxes. I can tell you I have a house in Missouri and here in Kansas, and the taxes were very much different. But what I would say is that we all are working very hard on our end to make sure that we provide, we work towards that revenue increase so we can all lower the rates for you, the citizens of Bourbon County. So that's my take. Anybody else who actually takes tax money can answer.
Sure, I'll take it. So obviously this is a hard question, but really my priority isn't decreasing taxes. My priority is increasing opportunity for students, and you elect boards that then hold me responsible for working within a budget. My goal is always to be as efficient as possible, and I've done that in lots of ways. We don't have time to go into that there. But really my goal is always about providing the most opportunities for students, and hopefully in turn that creates a generation of students that can better serve our community, and thus hopefully alleviate the weight that everybody shares. I'll never tell you to not give me the money I need if I know the program can help a kid become what they need.
Anyone else want to comment on that question before we move on?
Thank you for your question, Ann. Next. Oh, come on. Mike.
By show of hands, who's increased their debt this year?
Personal?
No. We don't care about your credit card.
Yes, we did increase our debt. Like buying a diesel operation, we could buy more gravel for our road than we needed. We've been crushing rock since 2000, county itself, and had a smaller crusher than we usually don't crush on the rock. We take good care of our road. So we did purchase and walk the crusher. We did one debt with that. It's going to be paid for. We have a plan to pay for it. But the goal was to provide more material for our road. And we said, why is that important? The roads are important for public safety. We don't gravel on the road just to be gravel the road. We want you folks to come to town safely on a gravel or asphalt road. That's why we work on roads.
And what kind of debt was that you took on? What type of debt?
We went to bank all the money.
Just a bank loan?
Yeah. Very low interest rates, and this can go out and pay off quickly. The other one is too small, and 10 years, $40,000 current paying 10. So it has some age to it. But our goal is to provide better. That's what we do.
Okay.
We provide
Thank you.
safety to you folks.
Anybody else want to comment on that?
We haven't increased it yet. We're in the process for the heat and air and the energy project. We're going to be increasing our debt by, it's about $7 million. That is going to be done through a lease purchase, and so it will not be on bond, and we're not raising any mill levy to be able to do that. We're working within the budget that we have to be able to pay that off. So,
Thank you.
Next question.
Brad, this is for you. The app you mentioned where you can send in ideas of things that need to be done, will there be a way that you are informed of when those are done? Or you just have to keep checking back? Will it show when they've been done?
What we'll do is, once we get it set up, we'll have a YouTube video put on our website or our Facebook page that'll be instructional on how to use it. But then we will update people with, I'm a big stat guy, so we'll have all kinds of, graphs that show what's done, what's not done, and also just keep updating on Facebook to let you know. And you'll be able to see everything that's in process, completed, not started. But our job is to make lists so we can tackle one at a time. That's the only way we can get things done.
Will the individual person that reports it get notification when it's taken care of?
Yes, they will be able to see, and they'll be notified when theirs is completed and off the list. There's a lot of different things we don't even know about yet. We'll utilize it.
Other questions from the crowd? Okay. I'm going to put you guys on the spot. I'm going to give you 2 minutes each to tell us your organization's biggest opportunity and biggest challenge. We'll go backwards.
Okay. Well, not being President Johnston, I'm not sure what the answer would be, so I'm going to almost have to plead a bit. But our biggest challenge right now, from a funding perspective, is the company that supports our resource planning system or our student information system is sunsetting that in 2024. And we're on a system right now that was developed in 1994. It's completely DOS-based, so anything that we do in it is 100% done in DOS, and you have to know a little bit of coding from that perspective. So that is probably our biggest hurdle right now, the thing that we're trying to address, because the funding needed to do is significant, and that upgrade is significant. So we're looking at a couple of options on how to extend that out, how to not make it be a impact funding right away. And so our biggest opportunity would be finding the funding to do that through grants and those type of things.
That's exciting. Our goal, of course, is to be more efficient. We've got to provide quality services to all of our citizens. And get more people involved in county government. A lot of folks don't realize we've done the ambulance service, we've done the village of we've done Southeast mental health, and the list goes on. The county provides, which is all good services. But our goal is to reduce our mill levy, which will hopefully reduce your taxes. For a various opportunity, I believe, working with folks like Ready to provide more businesses an opportunity in Bergen County. And we all know the more people that pay taxes, everyone can pay less. Like in Holland, there's a lot more people paying. That's our
greatest opportunity, probably can't talk. No, the greatest opportunity I think is growth. The great thing we got going for us is probably how close we are to the metro area. And the reason why I say that is, yeah, it's easy to go up there and shop, but it's also easy for them to live here and work there. And so we do have some great opportunity there. I was just like I said this morning, I left the Stand Up Rural America conference. There was a lot of stuff about, metro areas looking to outside rural areas for living because of low crime or low cost of living and quality of life. And so I think we've got some great opportunities in the quality of life area that are coming down the pipe that will give us opportunity to grow. Ready's biggest challenge, and I'm going to be honest with you, is funding. And I'm just going to lay it out there. Economic development happens because it's funded, and it's just, you could go to Greater Wichita Partnership, you can go down to the Pittsburgh, Miami, Iola, Allen County, every entity that has an economic development arm has funding opportunities. The county and the city of Fort Scott is our funding, and you've heard it today, and Dan brought up a good point. They have to provide services for the people, which is gravel roads, paved roads, and do those things. And sometimes that means economic development gets less funding. So we're really moving forward, I think, in the next near future to start going out and asking private business to help fund economic development. And it's not unheard of. It's actually common for that to happen because those private businesses want their community to grow because that means more people are working on the floors and vice versa. So I could go on and on, but in 2 minutes I'm sure it's obvious.
Our greatest opportunity, I think, is just opportunities we have to provide more opportunities for kids for their futures. And we're getting so close to having it so that every kid has a plan for what their future is, and we're able to plug kids in, and we're working on developing internships for in the next year or two so that we can get more kids out and experiencing the workforce and seeing what that's like, and actually doing some things to see if that's really what I want to do for the next 40 years. And then the other thing is our biggest challenge is really trying to fill all of the gaps of need that our kids have and our families. We have 2 new social workers that have come to us, one from community health centers, and they're here today, and one from through a grant that we received through early childhood. And their job is to go out and try to help families to meet needs of kids. And mental health, I mean, we work with SK Mental Health. They can't get enough people hired to fill all those gaps that we need for kids. So that's our biggest challenge right now, is just filling in for all of those needs that beyond the classroom. There are things that we're dealing with that are outside of there that really impact the classroom.
Mine's going to sound very similar to Destry. Really, our greatest opportunity is our students. I mean, that's why our organizations exist, is because we start with little bitty ones and we end up with big goofy ones, and hopefully they're ready to tackle the world. And that also brings about our hardest set of challenges. We have to meet kids where they're at. We have to help them see and define a future, and we have to provide them opportunities to make that a reality. All those things take people and spaces and programs, and all those things cost money. In Uniontown, Kansas, we don't have a lot of that via assessed evaluation, so we have to be efficient, and we have to be thoughtful and mindful about how we do the most good with the limited resources we have. But opportunities, we have a great set of staff members, we have good administrators, great administrators, I should say, great administrators and great community support, and I guess that's what's made that a great district for a long time, and that'll be what continues to let it be a great district going forward.
So I'll start with the challenge. It's something everybody sees every day, is catching up to 20 years of work on our streets. Our streets have been neglected, and it didn't happen overnight. And so now our biggest challenge is to figure out how we're going to make those drivable and to maintain those with what we've got. And when I say what I've got is staffing and money. And so that, to me, is our biggest challenge. Of course, we've got several others, but that's our biggest one. But the opportunity, and gentlemen say it, it's growth. It's growth in our area. It's growth in our city. We've got a lot of opportunities for revenues here. A lot of untapped areas that we don't push that are right there at our fingertips. We do have people that are stepping outside the box, that are starting new businesses, that are starting new challenges and opportunities for themselves. We need to support that, and the opportunity is there for us. We're right smack dab in the middle of the United States. We've got everything we could possibly get, and we need to bring people here. We need to keep the people we have, and that's our opportunity, is bringing revenues into our city.
One last thought, but encouraging, I say this in a lot of our meetings, of course, encourage citizens to get involved in government. We work for you, we need to know what you want us to do, the service you need, provide for you. We don't see very many people come to meetings, we don't hear from a lot of these folks. We need to hear from you, and we work for you, it's your government, come tell us what you want.
I'm just going to be real quick. The members that are up here at this panel, other than Jim, are not elected officials, right? So remember that every one of us have board members that you can go to and talk with, and talk about your questions, your concerns as well. We all work for boards, and I know everyone on my board has a vision of what they think Bourbon County should look like, and we work together. Vance is on my board. Mark McCoy is the chairman of my board. Josh was on my board. But anyway, we all have boards, and those are the people that, kind of make the cogs turn, I guess you could say, behind the closed doors sometimes, but, well, I guess not behind closed doors. Anyway, just remember, we all have boards, and we need to...
Taking the mic, sorry. Adam wants to make one more comment.
Well, one more, because now that I've thought more about the opportunity, I'm going to step out on a limb and say our opportunity right now is providing a skilled workforce for this town, this county, and this area. That is the biggest opportunity we have as a college.
Okay, thank you all for taking your time to be with us today. These are our taxing entities, and each one of you, may I remind you, have an ex officio spot on our chamber board. So some of you have taken advantage of that, but you are always welcome at our chamber board meetings. I will send you the meetings for the rest of the year, and you're welcome to be present. And thank you all for taking the time to come. Please feel free to share your feedback on this event with us. It's the first one, so we will look to make improvements based on what you guys want, members of the public. So thank you. We hope you feel like it was a good way to spend your lunch hour, and we will do another one next quarter.